welcome to 2018, Jaden. Purr. What's different? Nothing yet, I don't think. If you're like me and don't plan on doing anything extraordinary this year but still want to spice things up, I have a few suggestions. You know me, living life on the edge. I'm exciting, I'm adventurous. Of course, the best way to make life more interesting is to induce a variable of surprise and the unknown. In 2017, I conducted my own apple research. I just ate a bunch of apples. Here we go. I just got really curious one day. There's so many different types of apples and I don't know jack rabbit about any of them. Did you know there's What the shit? Did you know there's 7,500 different varieties of apples? 200 in the US? Because that was the first time I actually Googled it. I didn't eat 7,500 apples last year, but every week when I went to the grocery store, I'd get a different type of apple I hadn't had before, so I'd be learning about a new apple every week. It sounds stupid, but shut up, I learned a lot about apples. You're such a vegan. So growing up, Mom always got us either Fuji or Gala apples, which are some of the most common apples in the US. This is all just my own opinion and research, by the way. If you have a different opinion, good for you. Gala is pretty much the standard average apple. Nothing bad, but nothing fantastic. Fuji are a bit brighter in flavor and crisper, but they're both good standard apples to make a constant variable. Ha! See, I learned something in 7th grade science. Now, yes, this is happening.
Back again with another legit food review.
Golden Delicious are softer and less sweet than Fuji and have more of an applesauce taste. I'm aware of the irony in that description. Prips Pink or Pink Lady apples are firmer than Fuji but more tart. I don't like Red Delicious. They have a thick skin and mediocre flavor, and if you get a bad one, they're super gross and spongy. Everyone knows Granny Smith. She's green and tart. Sugar Bees are a lot crisper than Fuji and, like the name suggests, super sweet. A top tier apple. Envy tastes pretty much like Sugar Bee. Call me apple racist. Jazz apples were a disappointment, mainly because I thought the name was cool and the grocery store had a fun little name tag for them. They didn't taste all that great. Ruby Frosts. No, wait, I'll go faster. Have thick skin and are kind of sour, but not as much as Granny Smith. Pacific Rose are my favorite and the best apple. If anyone tries to tell you there's a better apple, they're probably right because I only tried like 15 out of the 7,500 varieties, which is like 0.2%. But these are the ones I buy all the time now. Honey Crisp apples are crisp. Nah, they're good, but they're more expensive. Peru apples are really crunchy and taste like a weak Gala. Rockets are super small and have a unique aftertaste. Macintosh are surprisingly super soft and sweet and taste nothing like a computer. Braeburn, also known as the worst apple to ever be genetically created. I tried it for the first time and was like, ugh, ew, whoa, what the freak? Like, it's trying to be sweet, but also tart at the same time, and it's like, just pick one, you're just a dumb apple. Apparently, they were created by accident and are a hybrid of Granny Smith and Lady Hamilton, so they're not even supposed to exist. Jeez, Granny Smith, use protection. But, I mean, to give them credit, that's pretty progressive considering it was the 1950s. Apparently, Braeburn is also a My Little Pony character. Anyway, avoid at all costs. I hope all the Braeburn trees burn in a giant fire and rebirth into Pacific Rose ones. So now you're an apple master. Like me. Apple Research gave me something to look forward to each week and isn't very expensive since they're apples. I'm also currently running a similar experiment on mint gum flavors. If apples aren't good enough for you, then try doing something you normally wouldn't do. But not because you're a new and improved person, just to try and get a good story out of it. If you start trying to induce good stories, eventually you'll get one. When I was still in college, I had to take a service learning class where we had to earn 75 hours of service from some sort of internship without being paid. The one I chose, completely on my own, not because it was the closest to campus and I didn't have a car, was working as a teacher's aide at a children's Montessori. Don't know what a Montessori is? Me neither when I took the internship. It's a children's school where the teachers focus more on letting the kids learn things on their own more naturally than traditional teaching methods in elementary schools. Wait, Jaden, this sounds interesting. Can you explain a bit more? Nope, I'm moving on. So the main reason I chose the Montessori, not including the location, was because kids are funny. And there would be some great stories to come from babysitting a classroom of kindergarten to 3rd graders 6 hours a week for a whole semester. I applied to the Montessori and scheduled an interview. I've never had a real job before, so I was super nervous and didn't know what to expect. The head teacher, Miss Frizzy, which isn't her real name, greeted me. Actually, no, first, I didn't know where the front door was. Like, I went up to the door that I thought was the entrance, but it was locked, so I called the number they gave me, and they said just go through the gate, and I didn't know where the gate was, but it ended up being around the side of the building, and the gates were all closed, so I thought I'd have to hop the fence to get into the school, but it would look super sketchy to see a college student hopping a gate to force their way into a children's Montessori. But I figured it out. So I met Miss Frizzy, but not in our own room. It was in the middle of the kids' class time when they were all running around with books and puzzles. She was like, "Hey there, nice to meet ya," and pulled out a kid's chair because they didn't have anything else. I sat down and my knees crunched up to my chin. It was a lot more casual than I thought it was gonna be, and probably should have been. There was one part where she was like, "Do you have first aid training? You legally need to have that if you want to work with children." And I will not confirm nor deny the possible first aid training in question, but yeah, we might have brushed over that one. Anyway, I got the internship, arrived the first day, and no one told me what to do. I was like, "Hi, how can I help? And also, how does everything work? Because I know nothing." "Oh, yeah, just help the kids if they need help." Oh, okay then. For the majority of the internship, I was stressed out and anxious because for 3 hours every time I went in, I felt like I had no purpose except walk around and smile at kids. Occasionally, I'd help one find a puzzle piece, but those were the exciting days. Also, 2 kids didn't even speak English. Like, what am I supposed to do when a kid's crying? I ask what's wrong, and I get, "私の恐竜に噛まれて痛いよ。ほら、血が出てる。てか、どうして私の言ってることわかんないのよ。日本人でしょ?" For an hour, the kids would have lunch and then go outside to play, and that was more manageable because I just had to make sure none of them backflipped off swings or something dumb. I could also pass the time and prevent insanity by sweeping sand off the pavement. My favorite memory by far when I was there was when a kid got stuck in a bucket. We just hear, "Help! To help!" and look over to a kid, upside down turtle with his butt in a pail. Pathetic. So what can you take away from this video? Brayburn apples were an accidental hybrid love child of 2 apples, and kids are incompetent at life. See, with a few little tweaks, it isn't hard to spice up your life. Now, go out and get yourself a funny story. Also, one day at the Montessori, a kid pooped on the sidewalk. Happy practically end of January. Sorry I haven't been able to get more videos out lately. Life hits you hard, bro. I'd like to thank Dave from Boy in a Band's sister, Hannah, for the little Japanese boy's voice. That was actual Japanese. She taught herself Japanese in her free time. She told me the translation, and I'm not gonna tell you. Little Easter egg for the people who teach themselves Japanese. Or already know it. I'd like to thank my extra animators again for helping out with scenes. People have been noticing, hey, that scene looks a bit different, and that's because we've got some other people helping out. I've said it before. It's not a secret. Their links are always in the description, and they're all really talented. I'm still looking for some extra permanent people because right now it's relatively casual. If you or someone you know has a style that can fit well with the videos, send me a portfolio at, shoot, I didn't plan this out, actually. Let's do Jaden Animations Animator at gmail.com. Yeah, no promises I'll be able to respond to your email. Last time I asked you for pet photos, Twitter blew up, and everything in my notifications were just pet photos for a solid week. It's not the same, but just a disclaimer. I also forgot that I also tried opal apples, and they're really good, IMO. Okay, I think that's all. Thanks for the patience. Bye.